ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
I've made my bed and I'm going to sleep in it. I feel like I'm in a really good place in my career, in my life, my family life, and I don't need to change it.
That's Cameron Smith explaining that he has not been tempted to ditch LIV and return to the USPGA. Why is the Australian star even being asked about that? Well, in case you missed it, five-time major winner Brooks Koepka confirmed his return to the PGA this week after abandoning the Saudi-backed rebels. He had to pay millions for the privilege. The establishment offered the same opportunity to Smith, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau. We're unpacking the power struggle, why Smith is saying no, and what a weakened LIV might mean for golf in Australia. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Jimmy Emmanuel is a golf writer and commentator. Jimmy, big news this week. Brooks Koepka choosing to go back to the PGA Tour. Can you maybe just help us understand why he made the jump and what it's going to cost him from a financial standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. It is big news, certainly. Massive news. It's the first of these bigger players to go back from LIV Golf into the PGA Tour sort of ecosystem. It's going to cost him some money. It's going to cost him some actual physical money and some sort of imaginary money, I suppose. He no longer will be able to qualify for equity in the PGA Tour, which is a new thing they've brought in to allow players to actually earn some of the money that the PGA Tour generates. So he's not able to earn that, which the PGA Tour value at $50 to $80 million, but real hard actual money is $5 million fine, effectively, that's actually a payment to charity. So he'll pay that, and then he'll be back in, and he's going to play at Torrey Pines in a couple of weeks. But in terms of why, I mean, Brooks is probably the only one who really knows why, but his contract would have been up at the end of this year for LIV. There'd been murmurs that he was a bit unhappy there, that he wanted to maybe go back. He's got a young family. He's had some things happening in his personal life that maybe he wants to be at home a little bit more. I think it's a bit of a personal decision, but it's also, Brooks is a pretty competitive beast. He likes to win major championships, which he's done 5 times, and he wants to put himself in the best preparation to do that. And I think he probably sees maybe the PGA Tour as the place for him to do that.
It's understood his LIV earnings were in the vicinity of $165 million USD. Unclear how much, if any, money he had to pay back to LIV as a consequence of departing early. So the financial penalty is murky. He said in an interview with AOP, the process hurts and it's meant to hurt, which makes you think he really didn't enjoy his experience at LIV at the conclusion. The whole chapter has also left the door ajar via the PGA for Cam Smith, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau. How and why were they eligible to go back to the PGA as well?
Yeah, there was basically the PGA Tour, surprisingly, and those players from their comments today as well found it surprising as well, actually named the players who were eligible under their little, what they created and cooked up as an eligibility scheme. So the players who were eligible to come back had to have won a major championship since 2022, which is the year that LIV Golf started. So the only LIV players who were eligible under that sort of guideline were Brooks, Bryson, Jon and Cam. They've used those major championships as a way of picking the players they want. No, those are the biggest names in LIV Golf. That also helps to probably settle the PGA Tour membership, the middle of the PGA Tour membership, who would have said if the guidelines and the eligibility for coming back were not to the absolute top of the LIV tree, they would have all felt a bit hard done by, that they could have gone and taken not money to the level of Brooks, Bryson and Jon, but they could have gone and taken a significant amount of money, gone and played LIV and come back without penalty. So that's why they've tried to create an eligibility category that is just the best players, but also a financial penalty that is significant. And they've got Brooks obviously along for the journey because he's saying the right things, and he's agreed to a significant amount of money that, as you say, is not fully disclosed because we don't know what he's had to give back to LIV or how that works, ending that contract. So basically it is to make sure that people didn't see it as you could go to LIV, come back without penalty, but also that they want the top of the top.
Smith had a pretty miserable year on course last year in the sense that he missed the cut at all 4 majors. I mean, he even missed the cut at the Australian PGA on his home deck in Queensland. So fans might have thought the opportunity to go back could be appealing. He told reporters today, emphatically, no plans to go back.
Was the temptation real? I know that you said that you're staying, but the temptation to follow Brooks and go back and play on that tour, is it real for you?
No.
He was less expansive as to the reasons why. You know that space better than most. Why do you think he wants to stick with the Saudi-backed Rebel League?
Well, I think one of the things is, and John and Bryson also this morning spoke at a similar press conference saying, "Oh no, I'm here, I'm contracted."
Yeah, man, I'm not planning on going anywhere. So, very similar answer to what Bryson gave. I wish Brooks the best, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm focused on the league and my team this year, and hopefully we can repeat as champions again.
They were all said at a LIV Golf pre-season media event, so it's probably not the stage to stand up and say, yeah, I'm thinking about it and you'll know what I'm going to do in a week or two. But for Cam, I mean, Cam has really enjoyed the move. You know, he's created his team. These guys are all captains of LIV Golf teams. His team is Ripper GC. It's all Australians, and they've got a great camaraderie and friendship in that team. They absolutely love playing golf with each other and travelling together, and you can see when you attend events, they're very close. Mark Leishman particularly is one of Cam's closest friends, always was on the PGA Tour, and he's now on LIV with him as well.
I'm the only one that can get anything out of this. The boys are just helping me.
He can get it out of it or he could lose. At this point of the season, we should probably start playing as a team. So we'll start today.
I think Cam really, really thoroughly enjoys that team environment that he's got there. He's created the team, you know, the support staff are all people that Cam has chosen. He also loves the fact that he gets to play around the world. He gets to spend more time in Australia. So LIV's obviously got an event in Adelaide. It is the biggest event on their schedule. Cam is the face of that event because Australians love him. Despite, you know, he struggled a little bit on the golf course last year, everyone absolutely loves Cam Smith. So he loves that event. He wants to spend a little bit more time at home. He still sees LIV as the way to do that. I think there's probably a bit more when Cam went. Cam was the reigning Players' Championship winner and the Open Championship winner. There was probably a bit more going on in the background when he went in terms of, you know, how it all went down for the PGA Tour, who wouldn't have been too happy. So Cam's not close to in the same position as Brooks is, even probably contemplating it. And Cam was very strongly, you know, sort of said, I made my bed and I'm happy to stay here.
I'm going to stay, mate. I've made a decision to come here and I'm standing by it. I'm really excited for 2026. I think our team is going to have one of the best years yet, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do on the golf course.
The other players also said they're staying on, they're contracted, so it's not necessarily a surprise, but you would have thought that once those penalties came out and that those three players in addition to Brooks were identified by the PGA Tour as the people who could come back, you would have thought there might have been a little bit of a conversation about what do we think and managers called, but Cam was pretty emphatic about what his moves are and where he's going to be, and he's still got a contract in place.
Bryson DeChambeau was a little less emphatic. He sort of cited the fact that he has a contract for the rest of 2026, so he's given himself a bit of wiggle room. I'm intrigued, though, by the LIV PGA dynamic. June 23, that was when we first heard that the two had agreed to peace talks. As we enter 2026, that is now long gone. You got the PGA making moves. Is this LIV getting weaker, or is it just kind of a bump in the road for them?
Well, I mean, Scott O'Neill, the CEO, who's been in the job for almost exactly 12 months, would hope it's just a bump in the road. Look, I think the peace talks idea was at a time when both really wanted that, but the negotiations and who had the advantage was probably a bit murky. They shelved that idea and basically went, let's just run our own shows and keep going along. And there hadn't been much visible animosity from the outside looking in, at least. But this is a bit of a shot across the bow. This is, we're taking one of your best players who is under contract in the same period where LIV is looking to fill roster gaps because of the way they've got their qualifications designed. They're looking to fill spots. So you would expect that someone who maybe has PGA Tour, you know, access or status is going to be going across the other way at some stage. So it is a little bit of a reigniting, I suppose, of the tensions. The idea was that these two entities are going to run their own shows and people are going to be able to choose which one they watch and support, or whether they watch and support both, because it's, you know, high level golf and how you're going to see the big names in the sport. But I think it might create a little bit more friction for a little while. Bryson's comments are interesting because he is under contract for another year. So you would imagine he is currently in a contract negotiation. So while he may not take advantage of this February 2nd deadline that they've given these three players to come across under the same rules and restrictions as Brooks, he is working towards maybe another contract with LIV Golf, and his contract value has just gone up, I would imagine, because there's clearly a way he can get back and play PGA Tour golf. LIV must be thinking, oh, well, he's got a way, and I'm sure the PGA Tour, even after the February 2nd deadline, if Bryson said he was wanting to come back, Bryson's become one of the most popular golfers in the sport. He's sort of transcended golf fandom and is in the mainstream, particularly in America. So if he wanted to come back, I'm sure they'd work out a way for him to come back.
If I'm LIV Adelaide or even Golf Australia, does any of this make me a little bit uneasy? Because this whole sort of global tension has proved to be good for golf in Australia. We've seen better fields, bigger crowds, certainly in Adelaide, but even in the broader ecosystem. Is this stressing me out if I'm in charge at Golf Australia?
I wouldn't think so. I think waiting for Cam to speak on what he's going to do was probably something people were interested in, because there is an alignment between Golf Australia and Ripper GC. They are a partner in their junior program. They would have been waiting for Cam to speak about it, and I'm sure we're very interested in it. In terms of the Adelaide event, sure, some people would have wanted to go and watch Brooks, and that was one of the advantages of him going over there, was he was a guy who wasn't coming to Australia to play Australian Opens or Australian PGAs necessarily. So it was a chance to see him. Some people might be disappointed they won't be able to see him in February, but I wouldn't have thought necessarily there's immediate concern or worry. Obviously, I think a lot of people have known a lot of the contracts end at the end of this year, so it's going to look a little different. And there's been some background stuff going on with the Ripper GC Australian team, because at the current stage, there are only 3 of 4 roster spots filled. I think everyone, once it gets past that February 2nd deadline and they know that this year there's going to be all these players, will be a lot more comfortable. Maybe there is a few players who want to switch back over, and whether there's ones who still want to go the other way, that's going to be really important for LIV's future success, that they've got to now bring through the next generation. So it'll be an interesting space to watch for the next 12 months while they work through, whether or not they're announcing contract extensions for people like Bryson and Cam and everything like that, and what that ends up costing them as well, because you can't imagine they were keen on paying the similar amounts they paid to get them over in the first place. So how that works is going to be a pretty fascinating watch, I'd say, over the next year as well.
Jimmy Emmanuel, thanks so much for your time. Fascinating story. Thanks for helping us unpack it.
Thanks for having me.
Headlines. 19-year-old Maya Joint has underscored why Australian tennis fans are excited about her chances at Melbourne Park, beating 2020 Oz Open champ Sophia Kenin in straight sets at the Adelaide International. Joint was not alone in pulling off a big victory. Alexander Vukic edged out Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets in the men's draw. Sadly, Thanasi Kokkinakis withdrew due to ongoing shoulder issues following his win over Seb Korda. Elsewhere, Venus Williams did not make it beyond her opening match at the Hobart International. The 45-year-old beaten by 38-year-old German opponent Tatiana Maria in straight sets. The legendary American will hope to improve when she takes up her AO wildcard in Melbourne. Jack Doohan waited more than a decade to get his shot at Formula One, and after 150 days, his seat has been revoked. His team, Alpine, have cut ties with the Australian son of a gun. He started in 6 races across the 2025 season, finishing in 4, and it felt like this outcome was on the horizon after he was sidelined. He's now out of the team entirely. Doohan is only 22 years old, so you'd think he has plenty more to give in the world of motorsport. And Jonas Vingegaard has confirmed he will compete in the Giro d'Italia and Tour de France in 2026. Tadej Pogacar is the only rider since the 90s to win both those races in the same year. Vingegaard will now attempt that feat. You suspect the Giro might be the priority, as it's the only Grand Tour he has yet to win. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to LIV Golf and Ripper GC for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.